What's up, man? How you doing?
I am good. I just finished my weekend on Dark Tide.
Nice, dude. So you're super thrilled?
Yes, I. Ayo, my name is Adrian. I had an opportunity to have a little chat with Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop, and I wanted to share it with all y'all. Talked about a little bit of Kill Team, a little bit of 40k lore, and we finally settled the debate on whether or not Magnus did anything wrong. And also, stick around for a chance to win a free copy of Dark Tide. Hope you guys enjoy. See you in a bit.
Yeah, that's rad, dude.
Yeah, it's so good. But how have you been? What have you been up to this past week besides I think you're recording episode of the pod tomorrow, right?
Yep, yeah. That's Mondays we do the pod, and yeah, I'm good, man. Just hanging out and getting used to a new work schedule, all that kind of stuff. So starting to settle in there, and just trying to hobby where I can, and trying to get working on getting like Kill Team growing, like a scene, like in my part of Florida, and we're getting there. It's doing pretty good. It's been moving along pretty steadily. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That's incredible. What is it like? How much effort do you feel like has been required to build a kill team scene
Uh,
where none exists?
well, at first it was a bit much for sure. But then after, I mean, I show up on Friday and I bring all my crap, and I'm really lucky to have a really dope local game store called Warpfire Games that like they're sort of like they're really pushing Kill Team. I mean, I think Kill Team is selling really well. These boxes are doing really well, and are everywhere. And so I think they're just and they like having people play at the store. They're just a really cool place. So it hasn't been that hard actually. Just find a good store and start playing, and hopefully people will join in. That's been my experience.
That's really dope. So you just bring all your stuff, you put it on a table, say, "All right, let's go."
Yep. Yeah, and it helps to have like an end. Like I've been showing up there for, I don't know, dude, probably I'm gonna say like about a year or so now, and just sort of making connections with the staff is super important too. I found so yeah.
That's really awesome. And this particular store like focused on Warhammer specifically, or is it just like
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a right now it's only a Warhammer store.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, and like I saw a picture the other day of somebody posted. It was in Florida, and it was a shop, and it was like, "Hey, check out their Warhammer section. They have more than my other store back home." And it was like one small rack of
Yeah.
Warhammer stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, is that how people have to live?" Because my game store, you walk in and wall to wall, it's just all Warhammer and 40K, Sigmar, all that good stuff, and they carry so much of it. And so I was like, "Wow, this is." Yeah, so I'm like super fortunate to have a great store in my area.
Yeah, that is actually kind of nice. I wish I had that. There's a store that I go to that's just a couple blocks away, and their main thing is Magic the Gathering, and
Oh,
that's kind
gotcha.
of all the staff knows. And so when I go in there, I try to talk
Yeah.
to people about Warhammer. Do you guys do events? Blah blah blah. And yeah, they're like, I don't know what any of this is, bro. I just,
Yeah.
it
That's the other store I have in town, and they suck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been told that this other store that's like 30 miles south does kill team tournaments every once in a while. So I need
Oh, nice.
to.
What part? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to. What part of the states you in?
I'm in Arkansas.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, hmm.
Yeah, not
What?
a not a not a huge
Yeah, I'm trying to
presence.
think. Yeah, I was like, man, I don't know anything happening out there. Yeah.
I think a lot of assumptions are pretty safe when it comes
Yeah.
to Warhammer in Arkansas.
It's like, oh man, yeah, I don't know anything. I do know like a few people across the U.S. like in like little pockets that have really good scenes running. But yeah, sorry man, no help there.
Yeah, I know. No, there's a ton of people that I know and like to play with on TTS that are on the coasts. And
Hmm.
so it's hard to schedule things with people because sometimes they're just very different when I'm trying to play a multiplayer game with a guy from New York and a guy from LA, and we're all trying to get
Right,
together in
yeah.
all different time zones. It's like, well, I can only play for 2 hours, I can only play for 1 hour, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, dude, trust me, I get that. Like the time zones to record the Kill Team Casuals is a nightmare. Like Russ is okay by memory. Russ is 5 hours ahead of me. Reese is 14 hours ahead of me.
Holy crap.
So yeah, so it's like very specific windows where we can actually record.
Yeah,
And
so
so it's
you're
like
on.
it's like I'm like just getting off work on Mondays. Russ is like should be just going to bed, and Reese is just waking up. So it's like, yeah, it's tough to make it all work.
Yeah, you're in completely different parts of the day. That's actually crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's hilarious. We bring very different energies. I think that's why I think that's why I bring the all very chaotic energy because I'm just getting off work and dealing with coming home to kids and I'm like okay, all right, let's roll a pod, and I'm just everywhere. Yeah.
It's incredible. So how is it having a being a family man, having a family, and also managing YouTube content and podcasts and Patreon and Discord, and what is it like managing all
Oh.
that, all the socials?
I think right now I'm just doing it very poorly. Like my Instagram game is always been garbage. My Discord, my popping around the Discord game has always been pretty okay. I do okay there. But then I think is it coming up on a month? Oh no, now I'm gonna check now. It's been a hot minute since I posted a video. And just as I was basically ready to record a video for Into the Dark, they just dropped this new box. So it's like, oh man, I gotta try and keep up. So it's tricky. I am not the guy to ask, tell you that much. All I can tell you is that it's hard to manage.
Yeah, I hear that. And speaking of the new box, Shadow Vaults, how are we feeling?
Yeah,
What are the
man.
vibes? What do you think?
Oh man, I'm so conflicted, dude. I'm so conflicted. Because I'm a big fan of Scions. That's kind of my favorite thing
Mm,
in the game. And it was a video that did really well for me, like super early on too. So it's kind of like I'm sort of tied to Scions by fate, and so it like kind of helped me get my name in the hat for Kill Team channels and stuff like that. And so I love Scions and Kasserkin. I believe that we were all sort of, and this could be me, by the way. If you disagree, please tell me. I'd love to hear what you think. I sort of feel like we were kind of led on to believe like this was going to be a bespoke Scions team, and they're really not, which is that's okay. But it could just be that my Scion loving self projected my love of Scions onto this team, but they were saying like it's an elite guard team, and so that sounds very much like Scions to me. And so they're hitting on fours, not hitting on threes. They don't have orders. They have 7 wounds, not 8 wounds. So it's a very different chassis. But it's okay because the way I'm kind of thinking of it is to make myself be okay with it. Is that it's really a 10-man vet guard list that is playable because a 10 if you play vet guard. What teams do you play, by the way?
right now, I'm playing primarily intercessors and
Oh, red.
novitiates.
Okay, all right. So two very good teams. Yeah, it's like Vet Guard. You have the 14 model team or the 10-man version, which just has some like the weapons like the airstrikes and stuff like that, and it sucks. It's unplayable. But this team to me sort of seems like a buffed up 10-man team. So I think that's cool. I just wish that maybe we would have known that more going in. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I think it's great. I think the Necrons look really cool. I'm not a Necron player personally, but you know, another possible complaint that you could have is that, boy, this is coming off really hot on the heels of the other one. But at the same time, anytime we're getting more kill team support, I'm happy. So at the end of the day, I think it's cool. I think the models are great. I think more kill team is good, and so I try to keep a pretty positive outlook on as long as the game is getting support, I'm pretty happy.
Absolutely, I think there's plenty to be negative about especially in the kill team space. But
Oh my god,
the
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we've heard it all. But
Yeah.
um,
What do you think about the new box?
I I enjoy Kasserkin. I think this is what I have been, either that or Vet Guard is what I've been looking for to make my own little
Ooh,
like
okay.
Dark Tide themed kill
Yes,
team
dude. Yes,
situation.
dude.
I want to do a nice little kit bash, and put like all of my energy into a kill team just to make it Dark Time themed, and also make a blooded kill team based on the enemies, the Mobian 6th Regiment. I
Yep,
think that
dude.
would be super cool.
I bought an extra box of the blooded or bloodied, whatever. Yeah, blooded. I bought an extra box of them with the intent to do the exact same thing. I think I've been calling them, I think, Mobian. What'd you call them? The
Yeah, the Mobian.
Mobian. Okay, yeah, the Mobian. They look just, man, so cool. And so I bought a box because, like, I'm gonna plague up the Ogryn a little bit to maybe look more like one of the plague Ogrins or Bulgrins from the game. So yeah, I had the same idea. I think that'd be super rad.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see someone do it actually like very well. But it'd be nice to have
Right.
something just for me that's like, this is in front of me. This is nice. I'm proud of this.
Right. You know what would be a really fun idea is to like take the 4-man Custodes team, and you'd have to, be okay with the models not looking like Custodes, but you could do like a 4-man, like the players, like a PC team. That could be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like you have an Ogryn, a Zealot, a Veteran, all that could be kind of fun.
I'll bet you could make some custom rules for that as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I actually really want to try something like that. Where instead of playing a team, you're playing as characters,
Hmm.
and like you have a character, and then you just fight a horde. Like that seems like it could be an interesting idea, or at least a narrative campaign that is very Dark Tide inspired would be super rad.
That actually gives me a lot of good ideas. I need to do some shopping after this, is what I'm hearing.
That's the problem, isn't it? Too many cool ideas, not enough time.
That's real. Not enough resources, not enough money, not enough time. Especially that money thing. That's kind of hard to come by
Oh,
sometimes.
dude, yeah, trust me, yeah, especially with the prices, yeah.
Yeah, the good old GW, the destroyer of wallets.
Yeah, gotta love it,
I
man.
gotta
Gotta love
freaking
them.
love it. Well, I have several questions for you, at least.
Okay, all right.
The first being, I feel like I love a good like origin story. Knowing the
Oh
background behind
man.
anything is just so important to understanding who someone is or what a concept is. So my question, my first one at least, is why do you Warhammer?
Oh man, great question. Good lead in on that question too, man. And a great interviewer voice, by the way. I'm sure you get that a lot, but like a very like a great voice for radio,
Hey, thanks, man.
and
I got a
or for
face for
video.
radio too.
Yeah, I got one of those too. And so yeah, so I started about I've been like in and around the hobby, I like to say, for about 6-ish years or so. I got started in Sigmar, and Sigmar really wasn't my jam. And so I painted up some of like the Sky Dwarves, the Kharadron Overlords. You know those models?
Vaguely.
Yeah, and they're like very steampunky and whatever, sort of cool. And I think I leaned towards them because in my hobby heart, I really wanted to play 40K. Like 40K always appealed to me, and so they were like the most 40K team in Sigmar. And so, but I dropped that after I had my first daughter, and I was like, okay, got to be a dad. Don't have time to paint. Need sleep. And then I picked it back up. Sort of like a very common thing that you hear a ton now is during quarantine. Man, I was like, okay, I can get back into this because I have more free time than I've ever had, and it was like it was my quarantine obsession that got me through quarantine was just going in insane deep dives into Kill Team, and so I've just been kind of a nutcase for it ever since.
That's not. I feel like a lot of people got into the hobby through quarantine, and
Yeah,
they had all this maybe a lot of employment money because they jobs had to lay them
right,
off and that
yeah,
kind of thing, apply for unemployment. Now they have this money, and it's kind of sketchy going to Walmart or wherever
right.
else to get a lot of groceries. And so why not just pick up a
Stay home
hobby?
and paint minis. Yeah,
Exactly. Sad that people really couldn't go out and play with them though.
right.
It's
Yeah,
like,
you'd have
well,
to
I
have
have
like
this.
a partner, or like a good buddy or brother or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad that TTS became a really big thing after the fact as well. And
Oh
Tabletop
yeah.
Simulator just being $20 on Steam, I feel like is even like a hey, I really want to play Warhammer, but I don't have a lot of money and I'm home all day because of this quarantine thing. What in the world am I gonna do with myself?
Yeah.
There's this whole
Is
online
that
community.
how is that how you sort of started Kill
Uh,
Team? is the TTS stuff.
Yes. Well, kind of. It's it's a little bit more sad than that, I think. I got into Warhammer because I realized and was very realistic that I'm way too broke to play Big Boy 40K. Just to be honest.
Oh man, I feel
But
that.
I really wanted to play, and once my one of my best friends ever, he had just had his first daughter about a year ago. Um, and he was like, I don't have time. I really want to play this with you. I just don't have 4 to 6 hours
Like, yeah, a
to,
whole day.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he was like, why don't we get into this like smaller scale thing, like this kill team, whatever is in its first edition? Maybe we could try that. And so we didn't actually get to it until just like a couple months ago, but hey,
Yeah.
point A to point B, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. And through that whole story, joke is Kill Team's a better game right now. Kill Team is a good game, and 40K in its current state, in my opinion, is a bad game. I just think having to set aside, like you said, 6 hours, a whole day, right? Let's say you got to drive to your hobby store, then you got to set up, and you got to pull all your like that just sounds miserable. And then once you actually start playing, you have to wait half an hour, 45 minutes between turns, and just roll your defense dice. So I'm a big believer in Kill Team, obviously. But with that being said, I'm really tempted to build a 40K force of like Chaos Red Corsairs, just in case by the time 10th edition rolls around, it's like a better game experience. Then I might jump in. But right now, Kill Team scratches all my hobby itches. So love it.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat for sure. I think that the time commitment is such a huge, I don't know, not a red flag. What am I looking for? It's kind of a deal breaker, a
Yeah,
little bit of,
100%.
but I can go to my buddy's house and order a couple things from FLG, and then we already, get a whole box set. I already have all the terrain I need. I already have all the measurement tools that I need. I already have
Yep.
X, Y, and Z. And we spend 1 to 2 hours playing a game, and then if we have time for another one, we do another one. And that's kind of what we've been trying to do on my Twitch channel. Is we try to always get 2 to 3 full games of Kill Team in. We're trying to get to a point where we only take like 1 full hour for each game.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's a hustle too, because Kill Team it's interesting because Kill Team is it's once you're actually in the gameplay, it sort of speeds through it, but kind of that front loading does take a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you had a lot of time to play games recently? I know that you've been really busy with your job transition, so I wonder if you've had much more experience with Into the Dark recently.
I actually have. I really try to keep my Friday nights pretty sacred, and so Friday nights are Kill Team nights. And at my local game store, like I said, I'll shout out again because just recently they are an official sponsor, so I'll shout them out. Warpfire Games, they're great. And actually, a matter of fact, they have 15% off online with a free shipping over $50. So if your local game store doesn't give a discount, these guys do. And let's be honest, all purchases for Kill Team stuff, Games Workshop stuff, cost over $50. Uh, so you always get the free shipping basically. And so there's a bunch of 40K players there that I'm like stealing over to Kill Team, man, because they're like, wait, this is actually a really good game, and I can play it on a Friday night. I can show up at 6 and the store closes at 10, and I can get like 2 or 3 games in, and I can't do that with 40K. So I've been doing that a ton, and or as much as I can, that is. And Into the Dark is awesome, dude. I think Into the Dark is a better game than open board Kill Team. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I haven't had a chance to play Into the Dark quite yet. I've tried
Okay.
to get several games in on TTS, but a lot of people are gearing up for tournaments the next couple
Yeah.
months. So
TTS stuff on the Command Point server.
yeah, it's been
Yeah, those
hard
guys have a
to
cool TTS scene.
yeah, it's been hard to actually find a game on there though, because I don't think anybody is like has as much time to teach
Right.
somebody the what's it called, the boarding party rules. Like,
Or yeah, just like the close confines,
yeah,
close quarters. Yeah.
and explain
Yeah,
all
it's,
of
it's a
that.
real
So
streamline. Yeah, like you've probably found this since you're playing Kill Team on open board. There can be some occasional funky line of sight issues, stuff like that.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, Into the Dark eliminates, I'm going to say 95% of that. And I'm a big fan of that. I think if you want to play on an open board, that's cool. And I don't think it's once you get a hang of it, it's actually not too bad. But Into the Dark eliminates so much of that, and I think it's a better game. It's you say you play novitiates and intercessors. Novitiates are a team that want to be up close a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
And so with Into the Dark, you can get up close without having somebody blow you off the board, which is a real feels bad.
Yeah.
And novitiates are, by the way, like the bane of my existence. They're such a good team. I actually don't think I've never beat them one time. They're the bane of my existence.
Which is hilarious because I've never won a game with novitiates. So I have no idea what those people are doing that I'm not doing, but I am not winning.
Yeah, they're one of those teams, man. It's not, they're one of the really great teams, but they're not one of the super easy teams to pilot. It seems to be how it goes right now, with the exception of Intercession Squad or whatever they're called. They're a great team that even somebody like me can pick up and like do pretty okay with. And so I gravitate towards those teams, like the ones that are a little less on the cognitive load side of things.
The cognitive loads, I love that. No, I've loved playing the intercessors. I'm trying to document my experience playing 10 full 1v1s with them, and then documenting kind of what I find, and kind of seeing what I learn as I go on playing. I guess it's an elite team. I figure a team with 6 or less units would be considered elite.
Oh yeah, they're like sort of like they're probably the second most elite team in the game, because probably the first, they're the elitist team would be your Custodes, and then these guys, because 6 bodies but with 14 wounds. Oh my god, dude, they're just so hard to shift. Question for you, what have been your favorite like chapter tactic things to take with them? What have you
Chapter
found?
tactics, yeah. So I've been running stealthy and duelist.
Okay, interesting. Stealthy's rad. That's one where you get an extra dice for cover retaining thing, right?
Yes, I'm gonna double check on Waha because I'm not 100%. Just to be honest, but
Yeah, I think if you're behind cover, you can retain 2 dice or a crit, right? I think that's how that one works. I forget.
yeah, let me double check that one. Okay, intercession.
And so, are you running a lot of chainswords then? I'm guessing a lot of the assault intercessors.
Yeah, so my loadouts. Actually, I've been running more ranged than crazy melee. So I guess I can go ahead and take you through my whole
Oh, I'd love
situation.
to. Yeah, I would love to.
And let me go. Okay, stealthy. Before we move on to that, stealthy. As long as an operative is within cover and more than 6 inches from the shooter, I can either retain a fail as a success or success as a crit save.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was very like Nurgle, kind of like the whole Chaos Marine Nurgle trait. Yeah. Very
Or
similar.
disgustingly resilient, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but
Yeah, it's like the blessing of Nurgle it helps you like retain better saves and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah,
And then Duelist is, remember what Duelist is? I can't remember that one either. I
duelist,
should know these things.
or it's dueler, I guess. Whatever.
Dueler, okay.
Um, every time I parry with a crit, I can discard
Oh, that's
another one of the enemy's regular
Oh,
hits.
that one's so nasty, dude.
Absolutely brutal.
So infuriating. Yeah.
And then, I can't remember what it was. Something that I learned with my novitiates is the novitiate penitent has an ability called expert riposte, and that allows me to every time that I parry with a crit, the crit damage goes through anyways.
Oh yeah, it's rad. That's so scary.
I can take one of theirs off and also do the damage that I want to, and that puts me
Right.
ahead in combat, especially when the wounds are pretty even. So
Yeah,
that's
for
been
sure.
pretty nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, the intercessors are rad, dude. Yeah, I think I see when I haven't played them in a hot minute. I played them at launch, and then I really enjoyed them, but I've just been busy with Red Corsair Chaos Marines.
Mm.
I think I tried stealthy, and then there's one that's like, oh, what's it called? I forget, but it's the one where your ballistic skill and weapon skill are never modified. So like on Overwatch, it's never worsened. Your like if you're injured, it's never worsened. I can't think of what it's called, but that one's so good,
Hmm.
especially on Into the Dark when you can go on guard and kind of lock down a hallway and not have to worsen your ballistic skill. Yeah, really good.
That's really interesting. Yeah, but just your ballistic skill. Huh.
Yeah, it's one of the last four, I think. Actually,
Okay.
let me look on my.
Shooting attack.
I also have access, not to brag. I
Oh,
also
it's
have access to Wikipedia, so let me pull this up.
I
Not to
think that's
brag or anything.
that sounds like methodical.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, and that one's really good, and that one might be a little on the meta side of things, but I'm not a good enough player to take advantage. I just need the help, and so, but it might be a little meta, but
It
pretty
actually
good.
sounds really good, just considering
Oh, it's
that
awesome.
Overwatch. Yeah, that's really nice, especially when they're
Yeah,
injured and they can still fire like normal. And then,
yeah, it's
oh,
awesome.
what's the ability? The spend a CP to shoot on death. I can't remember what that is.
Oh yeah, I know just what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Wrath of Vengeance, I think. I
Yeah,
think
I
Wrath of
think so.
Vengeance.
But
Yeah. Yeah, and then what else? I think I really like Speedy too. Is that I think it's called Speedy. You just add 1 inch to your movement. Rapid. Yeah, rapid.
yeah, yeah.
That one's just extra movement. I'm a big fan of extra movement any
Hmm.
way I could get it too. So that one's pretty cool.
Especially when charging distance is concerned.
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like just having that 1 extra inch is so good
Right.
with, especially on a
Hey
kill team
man,
board.
1 inch. Yeah.
It
And
makes all the difference, my man. It makes all the difference, brother.
yeah, and then Into the Dark, I did this thing the other day where I took rapid, and so instead of an 8 inch charge, you have a 9 inch charge. Well, when you fight through hatchways on Into the Dark, your engagement range is not 1 inch; it's 2 inches. So if like you're fighting, if someone's on the other side of a doorway, you don't have to be within an inch; you can be within 2 inches. So that turned my charge from which was what was something that was already what was it? It was a 10 inch charge. No, 7 plus 2. Yeah, so instead of a 9 inch charge, it was an 11 inch charge because of that. So stuff like that is pretty cool. You can kind of just sort of break the rules of the game a little bit. So yeah, rapid is very cool.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you want a free copy of Darktide? Hell yeah, you do. Let me show you how to get it. First off, go to the description of this video, click on the link that goes to my Twitch channel. While you're there, go ahead and follow because it's totally free to you and helps more than you know. When you're in the chat in my stream, go ahead and go over to your channel points and scroll down until you see a redeem called Dice Game. Here's a description about what happens. It's basically a free copy of Darktide. See you on the stream. I'm curious to see how people will start running their kill teams or have been running their kill teams as a result of all the changes that ITD brings and
Yeah,
how
for
they're
sure.
having to adjust to not being able to use vantage points. And I think you and
Yeah,
I were talking about the other day. You were like, good riddance to vantage
yeah.
points and all of that, you know.
Yeah, like I think yeah, some people probably would disagree. I think it's just flavor thing too. But I'd rather have I prefer doors opening and closing as sort of your tactical choices and advantages rather than climb up and shoot because that can just be so punishing. Like and depending on the board setup, if the board is not set up in a balanced way, like you know, like for example, if you the Octarius terrain is amazing, except for if you use those ramparts as cover, and let's say you have a silent sniper up there who's got so it's just it can be really punishing, especially to new players. So yeah, I'm a big fan of no vantage points. But I know I'm probably in the minority, but that's how I feel.
How do you feel like silent snipers are going to be affected because of these new changes?
You'll probably see them less, but at the same time, like they're still like even without vantage, silent snipers are so good. Like the Vet Guard sniper, for example. Like the novitiates have a silent, was it like bolt gun, right? Like a bolt or no,
It's like a
silent
crossbow, kind of.
crossbolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. It's honestly still good because you can just be down a hallway concealed, And so it's oddly enough still a super good choice, honestly. But like talking about your intercessors, right? Like if you throw an intercessor with blessed bolts just on one side of a hallway and you put him on guard, and you just, as again with methodical, right? So you're hitting on threes even on this guard action. It's sort of like, you're choosing to, it's like an Overwatch action, but you're, instead of making it after everybody has gone, you're making it whenever somebody ends a move within your line of sight. So like you basically lock down that hallway. If you have a shooty cessor with, like I said, blessed bolts down one into the hallway, just dare somebody to walk through, and they're like, they're gonna be Swiss cheese.
Yeah, and having that 3 APL too is
Oh, it's so good, dude. So good.
it's so nice.
Yeah, like I like 3 APL teams, or like the reason I like Scions is because they can sort of be a 3 APL light team, because you can do mission actions for free for 1 CP, and so that could be like opening a door is free because it's a mission action. So like, yeah, I like teams that can do the 3 APL thing, and so that's why like I love Legionaries, love the Cessors, yeah, all good stuff.
3 APL light. I love that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, so I assume you've gotten a chance to try quite a few of the teams.
Yes, I have.
What is a team that you don't have that you would like to try?
Ooh, interesting. Okay. A list of teams that I don't have is a short list. So off the top of my head, I know that I don't have the Elucidian or whatever Star Striders. I don't have them. But I'm not super interested in them personally. What else don't I have? Oh gosh, I have novitiates. I have a lot of teams that I just don't play. um, because I kind of have this goal of having all the teams so that if somebody wants to try something, I can just be, yeah, sure, here you go. But I'm gonna say the teams from the new box that just came out don't count, do they?
I would count those if
You count those? Then I'm gonna say the Kasserkin. But with aside from them, a team that I have that I haven't played is Novitiates, and I think I'm starting to come around on maybe wanting to give them a shot. So yeah, probably Novitiates because I have them. I just have never played them. So I'm gonna say Novitiates and then Kasserkin probably.
okay. Yeah. And following down that same trail, what is a race that does not have a team that you would like to see?
Ooh, man, great question. Okay, so a race.
Or a sub faction or something that exists within the greater 40k lore.
Gotcha. So like off the top of my head, okay, like the cop out, right? Let's get this one out of the way because this one can't be a real answer because this is everybody's answer. Is in like an Inquisitor team. That's
Right.
everybody's answer. So let's get that off the table. We all want that. We don't have it, but that's the cop out answer. I would probably say, oh, this is a tough question, man. Do you have an answer to this question?
I have two answers to this question.
You have two. Okay, I'd love to hear your answers, and I'll percolate on this one for a minute.
Okay. Straight off the bat, I'm gonna say Leagues of Votan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's the one we really need. You're totally right.
100%. I think having an elite team on the Votan would be sick. I mean, sure they would probably need to tweak a lot of things. I know what was it, like the day or the week of their release of
After the
releasing the rules,
codex.
they had to
Yeah.
immediately hot fix a bunch of things
Insane.
because it was OP.
Yeah, did you see the James Workshop video?
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That was good. I think, man, I'm just gonna plant my flag and say it. I think Games Workshop is headed in the right direction. I know it's unpopular, but I think the fact that they were able to make fun of themselves as a corporation, that's a step in the right direction. They're not there yet, right? They're still what they are, but I think they're starting to slowly creep in the right direction. That's just my opinion on that.
I think I'm gonna echo all that, primarily because of two things. First, being how they handled the Leagues of Votan hotfix,
Yep.
and also because of the free intercessor rules,
Oh, 100%.
and that whole kind of press push to get people into the hobby. I think that was incredibly smart, and
Yeah.
sure, maybe it was for the sake of money, but I think it really helped a lot of people. Hey, everybody has a billion intercessors because they're in
Yep.
4 or 5 different boxes at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Even
why
if you don't
not?
play Space Marines, if you play 40K, you'll have intercessors.
Yeah, so why not give them free rules to this other game just in case, oh, well, I have all these intercessors. I don't really have as much time to play full 40K. Oh, I can play Kill Team now. Sweet.
Yep. Yeah, I know two people. One's a really good buddy of mine, and one's a new buddy at the FLGS, and they both got in because of the intercessors being free. And it's like, oh well, let's give this a shot now. And now they love it because it's a better game than 40K. Yeah. So
Honestly, that's ultimately how I got into Kill Team. Is my friends bought an Noctarius box set, and they were like,
okay.
we don't have a team for you. I was like, you know what? I already have a team of tactical Marines, and I have a team of intercessors that I have painted up. So I guess I can bring
Nice.
those over. And even though you don't have like a paper rules for them, apparently there are these free rules. So come on over, we'll try it out.
Oh, that's rad. That's super rad.
So I think ultimately that's how I actually got into Kill Team. I hadn't painted in such a long time, or hobbied, I guess. I've just been so Dark Tide is a black hole. It's an emotional black hole.
Yeah.
And the beta's going on right now, and I know it because I have like 10 tabs open of just all of my homies streaming it right now. And
Oh, that's rad.
but I promised myself I would adult today and be good.
Yeah, as soon as this interview, you're like gonna just like a cartoon, like pew,
Yeah.
run, like your headphones are gonna drop, and you're just gonna go to your
I'm gonna
I don't know why
right out of this. Yeah.
you're gonna leave your computer, which I'm sure is also your gaming zone.
Yes.
Do a full rotation around the house and then come right back.
100%. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How did you get a hold of my diary first? That's my next question to you, sir.
And then what was your second answer? Because I think I have an answer. What was your second one?
My second answer is Drukari.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. That one, I don't know if we'll get that one. That one's interesting to me. Because like Corsairs does, like the Eldar Corsairs team kind of scratches a lot of itches all at the same time, and
Yeah.
I wonder if that's them saying, "Here you go." I'm also a very, on my online, I'm a very public Eldar hater. I have zero love for the Eldar. I think all the elves are stupid and dumb. And so I wonder if, okay, this is their catch-all for the elves, or if they're going to put out a Drukhari team. Because let's be honest, like Drukhari are the coolest looking of all the elves.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool. I think my team, I would love. I know we're not going to get it, but I would love a Legion of the Damned kill team.
Ooh.
Just Ghost Rider Space Marines is
Ghost
like
Rider
just so
Space
cool.
Marine.
Yeah, it's like that's all you need to hear, and you're in. So I would love them. But as far as a race, like I think getting a Kroot kill team is super cool. Like that's something that I personally did not expect.
Yeah.
And also Navy too, like a Navy team out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm gonna say Legion of the Damned. I'm gonna say that or actual bespoke scions. That's those are my two answers.
Yeah. And two things. One, earlier you just said bespoke scions. That makes me feel like they were a compendium team.
Yes, they are a compendium team, and they're, in my opinion, possibly the best compendium team. They're in top 5 best compendium teams for sure. But those teams just lack that extra sauce of extra bespoke sauce, the B sauce we call it in the game. And just take my word for that, we call it the B sauce. And so they're lacking that a little bit. And I would love to see an actual bespoke Scion team. But we'll probably never get it. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, and on kind of that same track, why do you feel like bespoke teams have been made so much better than compendium teams?
Oh boy, this is a big rabbit hole. Like, were they? That's a tough question, man. It's like did they rush? Was a compendium like a big rush job just to get all playable factions rules, even if many of them sucked? Because like now, Kill Team now is in a much better place than it was when it launched. Because I can't tell you how many times I had this conversation with somebody, and Intercession Team fixed this. Would be like, oh, you playing Kill Teams? Like, yeah, you should try it. Like, what do you play? Well, I play Space Marines. Do they have rules for Blood Angels yet? And I had that conversation like 5 times. And I'm like, well, not really, but you can, paint them red and just play them. They're like, oh, okay. And then, but now that there's chapter tactics and stuff like that, that conversation has become much easier. But there's so much more depth that separates a compendium team from a bespoke team. Like it's just a bigger toolbox, you know. Um, and so the compendium is slowly dying. Like I've been a big proponent of the compendium teams, primarily for scions, basically just scions. But there's just a much bigger, deeper toolkit on the bespoke teams, and so many of the compendium teams just really can't keep up.
That's really interesting. That I haven't thought about the idea that maybe they were just kind of rushed out just to have a first edition of Kill Team out of the way. Okay, there are these teams, they have rules. Fine, let them sit on that while we actually make something worthwhile. Hadn't
Right.
really thought of it that way. And okay, yeah. So what compendium team, besides Scions, of course, do you feel like needs an update first?
Oh, this is a great question. I would have said, prior to this box, I would have said Necrons because Necrons just suck so bad. I had a teaching game against Necrons the other day, and it just felt bad how easy they were to just slam. And like I'm also a big proponent of like always like if you're playing a first game with somebody, you're trying to get them into the hobby. I'll let them win, right? Let the Wookiee win,
Right.
like or as we say, let the rookie win, right? That's a good nerd pun. We all love that. That's funny. Don't worry if you didn't laugh. You just yeah, it was funny. Trust me. And yeah, so that was just hard because they suck so bad. But now they have a team. I'm gonna say our good friends, the poor Tyrannid fans.
Mm,
I think every major faction has a team represented except for Tyranids right now. I'm gonna say that because I mean elves sort of have their bespoke bone that they've got thrown. God knows humans have way too many teams. Space Marines now, so yeah, I'm gonna say Tyranids because I think they need some bespoke love. Yeah. How about you? What do you think?
I'm exactly in the same mindset. I think Tyranids definitely needed some love. I was hoping that Shadow Vaults would have been Tyranid involved. I'm
Yeah.
fairly
I
happy with Wormblade. I think Wormblade's cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they're rad. They're pretty cool.
but
Big fan.
I would love a Tyranid proper team. And
Yeah, well, let's if you don't mind, let's dive down this rabbit hole. What would be a good like bespoke tiered team in your mind? What models would you like to see?
mm, there are so many like huge base models for Tyranid.
Right.
So I'm trying to think of.
I would love to see like
Mm,
a Lictor in there.
mm,
That would be pretty cool.
yeah.
Like I would love that. Yeah, and then I don't know. It's tough because people love to play with their bugs, right? So you don't want to like limit them too much, but you know, warriors are also super rad. I don't know, but I think a lictor at somewhere in the mix or a possible lictor that you could take or sub out would be pretty fun.
Yeah. I'm wondering. Hmm. I love the Termagants and Hormagaunts that I know they're involved in the whole High Fleet
Hmm. Yep.
situation. Which that Tyranid warriors are actually kind of nasty.
They're so cool. Like the warrior in that the new Space Marine trailer. That's like, oh man, that just looks
Yeah.
so good.
Oh, Space Marine 2, by the way. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That's this and Dark Tide is gonna get me back into playing video games.
100%. I've already been so in it and Kill Team getting a new edition and all the new boxes and all the new bespoke rules and then all these video games coming out. It's a good time for
It
Warhammer
really
fans
is.
right now, I
It
think.
really is. Yeah, and yet they all still complain.
Yeah, that will never change. I think if they weren't so large, I would love to have seen like a smaller Exocrine or some kind of
Ooh.
Carnifex,
Oh,
something.
like something
Um,
really chunky.
yeah, something chunky, but not as huge of a base because then
Right.
otherwise, it's. I mean, imagine like Robotic Illiman sitting on a kill team board. Like it's too much.
Locking down, yeah, a whole
Yeah,
room and into the dark. Yeah.
yeah. Imagine trying to justify that nobody has line of sight on Robotic Illiman. Like ridiculous.
Yeah, yet he has line of sight on everybody because his base is so large.
Yeah, literally. I think I don't know if they're actually in there. I think Ripper Swarms would be cool.
Oh, that would be fun. Little stuff like that is cool. You know, I like a mix of. I don't know if you've seen the new Gellerpox kill team that came out a little bit ago,
Yes, yes.
but there's a mix of. Now that would be probably a fun team to do, like a dark. Ooh, this is. I never hadn't thought about that. This is live. This is my brain working in real time here. A Dark Tide Gellerpox team where you
Oh.
have some, which would be like 4 plague ogrins,
Hmm.
three like, zombified trooper things, and then a
Yeah.
bunch of little stuff. Are there little tiny freaky things in Dark Tide? How little do the enemies get?
Um, I think the smallest ones are the poxwalkers, I think.
Okay, so that might be tough to do then.
Well, of course, this is the
But
beta, so there might be. Well, there is a like a oh, what's it called? Like a Nurgle. What's it called? Like a bloodhound? Something
ooh,
hound. Like a. Hang on, let me. I don't know if it has a name. They just call it a hound.
hmm.
Nurgle hound, something like that.
Wait. Oh, how I'm unfamiliar, but that sounds rad.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, these are pretty nasty. Yeah.
it's a disabler. It jumps on you and just kind of tears into you until somebody fights it off you. It's kind of
Nice, dude. Is it like that back in Left 4 Dead, the thing that would like grab you
it's
and
the
hoist you up
hunter.
and
Oh, it's the
yeah,
hunter. Yeah.
man. Yeah, super rad. Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool, like a Dark Tide team. But yeah, I agree. That's stuff like that would be super, like a mix of big models and little tiny models to shake it up would be super fun for Tyranids.
Oh, now that I'm looking at it, I think gargoyles would be cool.
Ooh, I let me see. I have to
They're
Google a gargoyle.
winged
That's it. Try
variants.
saying that. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. Google a gargoyle.
Google or gargoyle. That's hard.
uh, oh yeah, yeah. Let's get some fly in there. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah. They don't look too big either, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like really mobile shooters. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, these are cool. These are super cool. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about these, honestly.
That would be. What? There are some units that have the fly ability, right?
Yeah, you got a few. Like what are the stupid elves? Harlequins. Yeah, Harlequins have fly. Yeah, I just hate them all. Yeah, yeah. So some fly for Tyranids would be pretty cool.
Okay, then yeah, I think above all else, I think that these gargoyles would probably be really cool for a Tyranid.
And
Uh,
they need some new models too. Like the gargoyles are
yeah,
looking a little jank. So some new gargoyles for Kill Team be very cool.
yeah, that would be super dope. I've really enjoyed watching Pathfinders
Hmm.
play and how they play. I'm a huge
Oof.
Space Marine fanboy, you know. Like through and through. I grew up on Space Marine lore. I mean, the Soul Drinkers and the Salamanders were my absolute
Oh yeah.
jam.
Oh,
Uh,
salamanders are my favorite founding chapter too.
they're just my absolute favorite, and their story is
Yeah.
just so like tragic.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have zero good books almost. Like, unfortunately, it's
Yeah,
like, man, I wish they'd have some better books because they're so cool. Like,
yeah,
they're the closest thing to a good guy out there, you know?
yeah. I mean, they have the Tome of Fire series, which is or the trilogy, which is pretty good.
I haven't checked that out. I've heard mixed things about that, but I'll have to check it out. I say this just like, like everything in Warhammer, the meme of a thing becomes the truth, and so I'll have to actually read the books instead of just taking the memes word for it there.
I enjoyed the books. I thought they were definitely a worthwhile read for sure.
Okay, yeah. I have this thing with Warhammer books that like I don't know if I've only read the good ones or if I'm just like happy to be here and reading like 40K lore, but like I've enjoyed like 95% of what I've read. But, I also think I've probably stuck to the fan favorites as well. But sometimes I'm not sure, like I'm like, is this good or do I just like Warhammer, you know?
Right, right. Random question. I just thought of this.
Mhm.
Um, which loyalist Primarch do you think is coming back next?
Oh, Loyalist Primarch. Well, speaking of salamanders, and the what is he? An internal, an eternal,
Perpetual.
immortal, perpetual. Thank you. That would be easy to do because it's just like,
Yeah,
boop, he's back.
he's back.
Um, I don't know, man. I'm very curious, and well, I was about to take us horribly off topic, but sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna say I would love to see Vulcan for sure, because he's like again just a salamander lover at heart. So I would love to see Vulcan. How about what about you? What do you think?
I think Vulcan would be great, but I also think that I would like to see Lehman Russ come back,
Ooh.
or Jagatai Khan.
Oh, okay. I'm a big fan of White Scars too. Yeah, Space Wolves can, sucks to suck. You guys suck.
Yeah.
There, if anything, I've learned doing all the hobby challenges that we do, Space Wolves are by far the most popular Legion. They're
Mhm.
just everywhere. Their numbers are Legion. Like these fans go nuts for them, and I love the aesthetic. It's just I'm also too passionate about these things, so I exaggerate it all. Space Wolves are fine. I don't want them to come for me because they're everywhere. But yeah, that'd be cool. But I would love to see Khan back too, because White Scars are some of my absolute favorites. But White Scars and Sally Mees, Sally
Ali
Mees,
Minis?
yeah, White Scars and Sally Mees are my two favorite founding legions. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
that'd be rad.
goodness. Okay.
Speaking of Primarchs, though, with the whole Siege of Terra stuff or whatever coming out,
Mhm.
we're about to see what actually happened in the showdown
Yeah.
between the Emperor and Sing. So, man, I don't know about you. They won't do this because Blood Angel fans would just die immediately from the shock. But I would love to see something happen with Sanguinius, like maybe he turned against the Emperor too, and the Emperor had to put both of them down or something like that. Like I would love to see something. They won't do it, right? But I would love to see something like that.
That's yeah. That's what I was that's exactly what I was hoping actually. I was going to think that like right as Horus like strikes down Sanguinius, and Sanguinius and Horus are having this monologue as
Yep.
the emperor is watching. Horus is like, "You are an idiot. Like, are you not like paying attention?" He literally ran off. Like, tell him what you were doing. And then the emperor like says what he was doing, and then Sanguinius just has this 180 flip in the
He
last
goes in like the
moment.
Black Rage. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what like creates the black rage, maybe.
Yeah, I
I
would
don't know.
love something like that. They probably won't because they're cowards, but that would be amazing,
Yeah,
dude. I'd be a Blood Angels, fanboy in a heartbeat if they did that.
100%, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, it would be super rad.
I'm hoping though that, I mean, a piece of me wishes that it wasn't Sanguinius,
Okay.
that it was somebody else, and then you know it was just said that, oh, it was Sanguinius that saved blah 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 Alanius
Right.
the old Alanius Pius thing, and then
Right.
it was actually like Lehman Russ, or it was like Rogaldorn or something.
Yeah, just
And
somebody like I love the idea that it was Sanguinius is just all what's what I'm looking for, propaganda. Like I love that idea that it's just
yeah,
all like everything in 40k. Yeah.
like he was almost the face of the Imperium a little bit.
Right.
And
Yeah, because he's such a good character. I mean, everybody loves Sanguinius for a good reason because he's one of the better written and more intriguing and somewhat decent of the decent in quotation marks Primarchs.
yeah, I I feel like I've asked a lot of people this. What traitor Primarch do you feel like
Ooh.
had it the most rough?
Oh, the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, one of them just off the top of my head. Okay, so I had two come to mind, and I like one more than I like the other. The first one that I dislike, I listen, people go nuts for this Legion, and I don't know why. I mean, they're sort of cool. Night Lords, right? People
Mm-hmm.
go nuts for Night Lords because the trilogy is so good. Have you read the trilogy?
I have not read the trilogy, but I've gotten
Oh,
kind
it's
of a
good, dude.
TLDR.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's also brutal because like they do these things called skinning pits, and that's just a little too far for me. It's like it's like that's such a bit too far. But people love him, and he had it pretty rough. But I'm gonna go word bears, man. I think a Lorgar, I think he was done so absolutely dirty by the Emperor
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot blame him for his fall. I think that singular event is probably the most whack among anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
What
Okay.
about you?
Hmm.
Like, you ever read, and I haven't read many of the original heresy books, but I have read the first Heretic. You ever read that one?
I've read the first 8 of the Horus
Okay.
Heresy.
Yeah, I jumped straight to the first Heretic,
Okay.
and which is probably it worked out for me because like as a 40K fan, the broad strokes of everything that happens, but it's
Mhm.
good to see that. But just the way that they just razed his city to the ground,
Mhm.
and just because and the Emperor betrayed him and sent Gilliman, all this guy, like just to like spit in his face and didn't give him any warning. Like he was given no warning that he shouldn't worship the Emperor as a god. Like
Mhm.
that was entertained until it was decided that nope, we got to raise his city, to the ground, burn it to the ground. And so I think that one, I think he had it the worst in that singular event.
Yeah. I'm tempted to go Angron.
Oh God, he had it pretty, he had it pretty rough too.
Yeah, being forced away from this, like, I need to win this war for these
Ugh,
people because of how, persecuted they are, and you're gonna pull me away from that. Like, this is all that I care about, and you're gonna make me go do
yeah,
something I really don't give a crap about. And of course, like, his fall makes perfect sense.
yeah. That's one of those two that I totally agree. Like, what, like especially maybe one of the worst origin stories too. Like to have to come up like that's a pretty rough time.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah,
have some empathy here.
yeah, I think that one's particularly rough. Like, yeah, the Emperor is just like really just horrible to a few of these guys, and it's just like you can't blame him. Like Lorgar falling, can't blame him. Angron, can't blame him. Conrad Kurz is a little crybaby boy. He should just suck it up. Uh, but yeah, Angron's a good one for sure.
Speaking of traitor Primarchs, did
Ooh,
Magnus do anything wrong?
listen, okay.
Hold up. Before we continue, just want to remind everybody to go ahead and give me a follow on Twitch. It's totally free, and it helps me more than you know. Here's why. Right now, my goal is to get 250 followers on Twitch so that I can apply for the Darktide Creator Program, which requires 250 followers on either Twitch or YouTube. And because I'm closer to Twitch, I would love it if you would hop over to my Twitch channel and go ahead and follow. Being a part of the Darktide Creator Program is ultimately my goal and how I want to proceed in making content in the future. And again, it's totally free and helps me reach my goals. So thank you so much. Let's hop back into the episode.
I I'm not a fan of Magnus or the Thousand Sons. They're one of my least favorite legions.
Whoa,
But
that's an unpopular
yeah,
opinion. Tell me more
I
about
know,
that.
dude. I'm just full of these horrible. I'm full of the wrong opinions. I think their helmets are stupid. That's a big one for me. I think their helmets look really dumb, and they're like faux, neo Egyptian stylings. I just feel like they missed the mark a little bit. And also I don't like Zinch. So there's a lot in for my taste. There's a lot going against them.
What's your beef with Zinch?
Uh, Too many birds.
What's
Too
wrong
many
with
bird things going on.
birds? Okay.
I don't know. I just he's like I like two of the I like Nurgle and I like Korn, and I think people who like Slanesh need counseling. And then Zinch is just a little weird. That's my opinion on them.
Weirder than
Um,
Slanesh?
I mean nobody's weirder than Slanesh, right? Like Slanesh goes a little too hard. But yes, but that being said, I think Magnus got done real dirty. I think Magnus he resorted to desperate measures and was trying, I think he did the best he could, and he got punished for it undeservingly. So
Mm.
although I'm not a big fan of the Thousand Sons as a whole, I think that Magnus is, while he did some things wrong, he did not do that one thing wrong. What do you think?
Oh man. I
People will
think he,
love you or hate you based on this one question.
basically, yeah. Um, I don't I think he did something wrong, but the punishment didn't fit the crime.
Right. He did something wrong, but for the right reasons,
Yes, absolutely. Um, and I think he was done dirty, but not as much by the Emperor as he was by Leman Russ.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, another reason I don't like Leman Russ, dude, he's just a little too zealous to, take out one of his bros like that. Not a fan of Leman Russ either. Um, yeah.
Yeah, Leman Russ kind of strikes me as the most toxic Norse frat boy I've ever met in my life, dude.
Very toxic. Yeah, just like at a moment just waiting to kill one of his brothers. Like, dang, dude, chill, bro. Like, go back to your ice world and drink some mead or something,
Yeah,
dude. Like, chill.
How are you gonna flip on one of your boys like that on a dime? That's crazy.
Yeah, and just like, yeah, it didn't take much either. And like, yeah, I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan of Leman Russ. Not a fan of what's his name? What's the thousand? We're just talking about him. The thousand guy. Magnus. Yeah, not a fan of him either. But in that situation, I'm more of a fan of Magnus than I am, and I like the way he's written too in the Heresy books.
Yeah, I also think in the greater realm of the Heresy that Leman Russ and Magnus are just having their own fight off to the side while there's this huge war and everybody else is fighting. And they're just like, I just hate this one guy. I don't care about anybody else. It's this one freaking guy. Can't live with him.
Yeah. And then Magnus used a lot of restraint there when the wolves were attacking. He was not fighting back there for a bit, and while Leman Russ was just being a real jerk. And yeah, poor Magnus. Magnus, he had it rough. I think he had a little too rough.
I think that's a pretty well confirmed. Magnus did nothing wrong from Ben, the Kill Team Prophet, Campbell.
Oh, I love that.
Or Ben, the Baby Zinch bird hater, Campbell.
Yep, that was my nickname in high school, and I didn't even know about Warhammer back then. Yeah, weird.
That is incredible. Man. Okay, so I have loved the pod. First thing.
Thank you, man.
So much though that I felt the Zinchian urge to give money to said pod.
You went all in, man. Yeah, you went all in. Thank you, by the way. You're an official. You're one of 2 official Legionaries of Rust. That's a pretty exclusive title.
Yeah, I honestly, title aside, it's good. It's good content. I feel like even though I said this, I can't put out a review on Spotify, which kind of sucks. You can do a number of stars, but there's no actual description, I don't think. Because my assumption is that you guys all read your things off of Apple Podcasts. Is that fair to say?
We just learned that we've been doing this for a few weeks now, or a month now, and we just realized that Spotify won't let you lose, or at least I did. The other guys may have known this. I bring very little to the podcast aside from my chaotic energy. So the other guys might have known this, but I just found this out last week.
Yeah. Which I'm really sad about that, because I feel like a lot of people would have a lot of extra really good things to say about the pod.
Our reviews are so hilarious. There's quite a few almost backhanded compliments, but in the best way. It's this is my favorite one is that we're a Kill Team adjacent podcast, which is very fitting, right? It's the least Kill Teamiest Kill Team podcast you'll ever listen to. So, fair. That's fair.
I feel like I'm in a... So I compare it to 2 things. One, I compare it to Vox Machina, where it's just everybody is in the room talking about what just happened. It's you guys just played a multiplayer game of a Kill Team, and now you're just chatting about literally whatever else. Or I feel like I'm on the couch in the same room as y'all, and there happens to be a Glass Half Dead video going on the TV while you guys are talking about whatever else.
That's great, man. I love that one. And all on the same couch, just snuggled up like 4 buds. Yeah.
It's kind of how people say, I don't know how you would pronounce this. It's a sparkling water drink. It's in a can. It's very French looking.
Oh, this is dangerous. This is dangerous.
Okay, first off, how do you pronounce this? I want to hear your pronunciation first.
Okay, should we do it on 3 and both say it at the same time?
I'm gonna say how my mom says it because it's really. Anyways, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
LaCroix. Oh, dang.
Okay, yeah.
My mom says LaCroix.
LaCroix. Now that's how most people say it. Now I I say La Croix because, and I'm always judged for it because my wife is she's from Haiti, so she speaks Creole and
Yeah,
French.
yeah.
So she like just dunks on me anytime I say LaCroix. She's like, "You sound like an idiot. It's La Croix." So I know that I sound like a fancy little prince, Lord Fauntleroy when I say La
Yeah,
Croix,
yeah.
but my wife has turned me into La Croix instead of LaCroix.
It does sound very, very pinky up, but I
It
cannot
does, yeah.
convince anybody else to say La Croix, honestly. Like, it's impossible. It's like, oh, you sound so stuck up when you say that. Just say
Yeah,
LaCroix,
like,
just like a normal person. We're in the South, gosh dang it. Whatever.
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
But you know how people say that La Croix tastes like sparkling water, but somebody yelled mango in the other room? You know what I mean?
Oh, I think I know where you're going. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Like we're talking about Warhammer and somebody yelled "Kill Team" in the other room.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, like Kill Team brings us all together, and after that, it's like it's just fair game.
Like, hey, have you heard about Shadow Vaults, bro? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's cool. All right, back to talking about like the last tangent in the last pod that we got into. I think the intro where we started talking about upside down pineapples and just
I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready for that to go south so fast.
Yeah, it was. None of us were, and it was. I think it was all my doing. Like I said, I bring that chaotic energy and nothing else to the pod. So yeah, that was a fun one.
That's exactly what Russ needs right before he goes to bed. Honestly.
Yeah, he always says he's like, because it's like by the time we wrap, it's like 1 a.m. for him, and then at 3 a.m. his time will be like, yeah, I'm too juiced from the pod. I can't sleep.
Like, I need some pineapple juice or something, bro. I gotta.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. And then you as a legionary of Russ yourself, man. I gotta get with the guys and figure out because we have a guest coming on, Emmanuel from Strategic Advantage. Not sure if you're familiar with him. But he's a great dude. So we have him coming on at the end of October, and then we'll have to get you scheduled, man, for a Legions of Russ. How do you feel about that? This is, someone's got to take that Guestinental belt from Reese, and apparently it's not going to be me. So how are you feeling?
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
I'm not gonna lie. A big piece of me wants to flip the script, and I want to host Legions of Russ and make Russ play around so he can feel the pain that you guys feel of just the pain, the literary hula hoops that you have to jump through to try and figure out what in the world he might be talking about. So
yeah, now, how do you do for the Legions of Russ? Are you a good guesser? Because I'm not. Like, do you get some of the answers correct?
Some of them. I'd say I'm 50-50.
Okay, that's about where I am. In maybe less so than 50-50, but I have really good weeks. Like, I'll have a good run, and then I'll just get plastered for 2 weeks straight. And like I think season 1, I think I had it there for a while, and then Russ just can't, or Reese, excuse me, I can't keep them straight. They're both just white dudes with beards, so it all blends together. And they have an accent that all just I don't know. I'm from the South. It all sounds like gibberish to me. So I'm just doing my best out here, man, and failing horribly.
It's always worth a shot, though. I think I love your firing from the hip more than anything else. I think so. And then Russ is like, no, Ben, moving on.
Yeah, I'm just so desperate, man. I'm just a desperate man between. What were my highlights? Drowning Eagles. That's a highlight. Scimitars. Okay, I got a lot of crap. I don't know if you watched that episode. The Scimitar where I guessed Scimitar. Okay, please give me a ruling on this, okay? Because I feel like Scimitar, I forget what the answer was not that far off from the real answer. What do you think?
The answer was the occipiters.
Yes,
I think that's what it was.
Occipiter and scimitar, that's very similar, okay? Like the mouthfeel of that word. Do you agree with me, or do you agree with the guys?
Yeah, scimitar and scimitar, it's very, very, very similar. So
I thank you. Thank you for validating me.
I was just as confused, honestly. I didn't go as far as to say scimitar. I don't think that's where my head was at, but I could totally understand. When you said that, I was like, he's freaking got it. There's no way. And then Russ just shoots you down. I'm like, wait, then what the hell is it? Like,
Yeah.
what?
And then I was laughed at for how off it was. Like I felt I was at least close to the party there.
Yeah, I really thought you were. And then he said one word, like, well, there's so much going on there for it to just be 3 syllables. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. I honestly get anxious when it's time to Legions of Rust. I'm not putting on for the camera. Like okay, like maybe visually I put on a little bit, but just like
Yeah.
taking off glasses, I might play up for the camera. But like
Yeah.
I'm actually anxious. It gets me honestly anxious to play Legions of Rust.
Yeah, I feel like behind the showmanship, there is definitely an air of competitiveness, and like, if I don't do this, I am a failure and a disgrace to my entire family history. If I do not get, I am 2.5 points down. This is.
Oh yeah, I'm in a rough shape, man. I'm probably. I think last week lost me the season 1 title, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. I think my highlight from Legions of Rust this whole season was the fact that it took y'all so freaking long to get Space Wolves.
Oh yes, that was a tough one.
Me up. Did
you get it before us?
Yeah, I was in my car driving home from work, and I was screaming. Like, I had my windows down, and this guy in the car next to me was like, "What the hell are you screaming about?"
Oh, it's hilarious.
I was really embarrassed, but I was like, "He's not freaking getting it, man."
Yeah, that was surprisingly for us. I don't know why. I think we were overthinking it. But I think what cracked the code, I forget the cue, but I remember there was like a Vespa, without the "pa" or something.
Without the first part, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So that, I think that's what sort of gave it away. But that was I think we were overthinking it for sure.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember what was before that either, because that was the tiebreaker, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah. And I think actually, I don't think there was a tie to break, but Reese was feeling pretty confident. He was like, "Sure, let's play." And then I think I got it, which is what sort of gave me a little bit of an edge. But
yeah.
I have since lost that edge.
Yeah. His hubris was his downfall on that one for sure. For sure. And about the pod in general, how do you, a Florida man headline in training, how do you meet 2 other guys from almost completely opposite time zones, much less make a podcast?
Oh man, good question. So I think in the timeline of channels, Russ started in quarantine, but like a few months before I did. Like I'm gonna say maybe 6 months, but because I was shocked to find out how new his channel was, because obviously his bat reps are just top tier. I mean, the way he does his things, his videos are great, and he pumps them out so quickly too. And so I was like a fan of Russ's channel, and I didn't realize, because it was before I had thought about making content, that I realized we started talking, and I was like, kindred spirits, and then Reese came along with Threes to Wound, and we kind of found each other too, just again like sort of kindred spirits, similar attitudes. None of us are winning a ton of games at the local game store, but we're having a ton of fun while we're doing it, and that's kind of our attitude. And at one point, I'll take credit for this. Me and Russ have been talking about the idea of a pod, and then I was like, you know what, Reese is a really cool guy. Let me throw him in this chat just for fun, because I think we would all vibe with the same energy. And after that, it just kind of it took off, and we're really fortunate. We say this a lot of the time, like, we got super lucky that whatever energy happens on camera, on recording, is at the least entertaining, right? And so again, like you said, 3 guys in completely different time zones in 3 different parts of the world would meet up and have, I'm not going to say good chemistry, but we have some sort of chemistry, like, so we were very, very fortunate in that aspect. And so yeah, we just kind of we're fans of each other's, and then just kind of all started chatting, and it was a very organic thing, because what happens on the pod is what was happening in a Discord chat, and now we just share it with the world. So that's about the story of that. I probably could have condensed that, so sorry, but that's the history there.
No, I think it's so interesting that could happen in the first place.
I know, right? Yeah, it's been really good. Like I have a ton of fun. Like those guys are we do a podcast. They're also my buds, man, and so it's good to. It's just very fortunate that we all found each other the way we did.
That's incredible. What? Oh, well, before I do that, dang, I have a tendency to ramble or just go into deeper
Oh,
and
me
deeper
too. Don't
questions, or just
worry.
fall into rabbit holes like it's my job. Um, it's called Kill Team Casuals. Why go casual instead of a more competitive based podcast?
Well, so two answers. Number one, we couldn't if we tried. Like we would do, like we would just have the worst advice. Like it would just be the try hardiest, yet also at the same time least helpful podcast in the world if we were trying to give tips. And then also, we noticed that there was sort of a big gap in the Kill Team podcast world. Is that you have some incredible players out there giving tips. Like you have one of the two that come to my mind is the Killzone podcast with Chris Biernid and then Emmanuel, and you also have Command Point with Shane and Ryan. And those are like the two like really specifically competitive focused, and they're really good, and there's a ton more that are really really helpful as well, but most people don't play the game competitively is what we've noticed. And so we thought, well, we play it casually, and I think most people do too, so let's lean into that. And it's been really fun and rewarding, and so I'm glad that we did. But yeah, we just noticed that, man, most people, like, there's a very little of the population playing Kill Team are actually going to tournaments. Everybody else is listening to those podcasts to get better because they're super, really insightful and helpful. But most people play casually, and so that's what we decided to lean into. And some say we, missed the mark completely by even including Kill Team in the title, but we're trying our best.
No, I think the Kill Team adjacent tag is incredible, but I do appreciate the different perspectives on. I don't know. I feel like you guys can have this switch where you can go from like the deepest meme rabbit hole to something super intentional and insightful and like really actually very very helpful and just in an instant, and then immediately after the point is made, whatever you're trying to say, then it immediately goes back to the memes, and then there's there is a point of no return, but that's typically after Legions of Rust. But
after Legions of Rust, it's all, man, every man for himself. I think it's just three dudes, kind of. It's probably what happens at game stores all over the world, man. Just a couple of dudes rolling dice, having a good time, talking crap, and thank you.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the pod. I only have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
First, I think is something that I hope everybody has an opinion on.
Okay.
And this is very to give you a kind of insight. This is very picky mechanical pencil kid of me.
Okay. I'm ready.
In your pretty professional opinion, what is the most satisfying material to roll a handful of dice onto?
Oh my gosh, this is a great question. Maybe my favorite question ever. I'm thinking about it. So a dice tray is good, right? Dice tray is like, that's sort of like the control test, right? Like everybody loves the sound of a dice in a dice tray, right?
Mm-hmm. What's at the bottom of your dice tray in a perfect world?
Ooh, I don't even know. I just have a fold up dice tray, and that one's pretty good. But I have to say this.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching this far into the video. Just one more time, as a friendly reminder, I would really appreciate it more than you know if you guys would go over to my Twitch channel and go ahead and give me a follow. Again, we're so close to being able to apply to the Dark Tide Creators Program. Every single follow helps. Again, thank you all for your support. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Do you ever watch oh my goodness. It's one of the Canadian Play on Tabletop. Do you ever watch their videos?
Oh, love Play On.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? They're just killing the game, right?
Oh yeah.
Their dice tray, whatever material that is very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
That's up there for me. But I do love the pitter patter of a nice felt, dice tray as well. I enjoy both at different times for different reasons.
So what you personally, if there's a material you could name, what would that be?
Oh, I'm just gonna say the best all rounder is felt, but I feel like you might have something that would open my eyes. What's your? I feel like you have a really good answer to this.
I have a couple.
No.
um, I think this only comes from me being. I don't know if this is a condition. If I'm just undiagnosed, I don't know. I don't know what this is. But I very much enjoy textures through my hands. I guess is
Okay.
is
Yeah.
is, is something. So I don't know. How do I describe that? So I really enjoy a thin layer of something rubber
Okay. Yeah.
where a lot of the noise is just taken out of it.
Correct. Yeah. I'm with you
I like
all the way.
the heavy padding, but also I think I'm on your team on that one. So my dice tray has like 2/4 inch thick, two of them. I don't know why I did two, but I think it. I don't. I wish I had the science to back that one up, but I don't know what it is. But having several different layers of felt as opposed to one super thick layer
Okay.
of felt, I don't know what it is. It makes
It
it
makes
makes
the
a
difference.
sound. It's just I don't know. It's just super satisfying. But a
Did
little bit of
you
rubber
now?
or like a mouse pad material, which I know.
Oh, that's great too. Yeah, mouse pad material, like for a game mat, a good game mat is
Yeah, I
also nice.
can't remember what if is
Now,
that nylon. I don't know what that is.
is it neoprene? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you make your own dice tray? Is that what it sounds like?
Ye- So I had a buddy who does a little bit of woodworking, and so he made the
Okay.
actual box, and then actually I think I bought all the felt and everything, and then my wife actually put that together because I can kind of paint minis, but literally everything
When it
else,
comes like the crafty stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like the really
Yeah.
small detail, actual crafty things, not just
Gotcha.
plastic crack. Um, she's real good with that,
Yeah.
so she did that for me, and
Oh,
ended
that's
up being really
lovely.
good.
Yeah. I would love to have a custom dice tray, either made or made by myself, or like, but I would screw it up so bad. I'm not handy. But yeah, see, I think I'm right with you. I think, I love a felt. I'm right there with you because I'll tell you, I can give you easily the worst dice rolling surface is a granite countertop. That's horrible
Oh, that
because
doesn't
they never
no.
stop bouncing. They never stop bouncing.
Hmm.
It's a really shrill sound, and it's super, super not enjoyable. I can say that for sure. And so, yeah, I'm gonna go. But I tell you, here's a great combo, which I think is probably right. Right along with you. I think I'm with you. Is a foldable felt dice tray, right? That has
Hmm.
no hard bottom,
Hmm.
but you put that on the granite countertop, and so you have, which is I think just what you said, just a different version, is a felt over top of a really hard substance, and
Hmm.
that's I think is the go-to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you
So
for sure.
what I had to start doing for my streams, and I'll explain why. So I have
Mm,
it's just a wood coffee table, low to the ground. That's
okay,
what I use to stream my bat wraps.
okay, gotcha.
And so I bought these. I think a lot of people have them. Just these. They're not foldable felt dice trays. You, I don't know how to
Like the
describe it.
corners, just like the corners.
The corners just kind of fold up and they like
Yeah, that's what
button
mine is too.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I really enjoy that. Those have been really nice. But when I put them on my wood table or on my countertops or anything, and I just hit throw at an angle that's way too high, it immediately bounces out of the tray.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So what I started doing is I take one of my one of my old 40K codexes. I'll put it under the dice tray, and then I put a couple pieces of clay underneath it. just like super thin pieces of clay to keep
Interesting.
it from moving whenever we grab our dice out of the tray.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
See, I've done
that, yeah.
similar. I've done the codex trick before. That's a pro move. Yeah. Yeah. I'm down with that. I've done the same thing. But the clay, that's an added level that I have not messed with.
I just hate like grabbing my dice out of the tray, accidentally moving the dice tray, and then having to like look at
Mm.
OBS over the entire all my light
Oh, what
fixtures
a
and my
nightmare.
webcams and everything, and trying to put it back into frame every like 5 seconds. It's just not worth it.
Right.
So putting the clay down prevents it from moving at all. That way we can just not worry about that.
Yeah, pro move. Yeah, and probably helps absorb a little bit too, I would imagine. Just a little bit.
Absolutely. And it's actually kind of
Yeah.
a nice sound with the hardback books and everything. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Good question, man. This is a rabbit hole I didn't know I needed to jump down. So this is good.
Just the things you don't think about when
Right. But yeah,
wargaming,
like
you know.
that's what great that the tactile nature of wargaming is so nice. That's why TTS is a little difficult for me, is because I love the touch and feel of models and dice and
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. If on that same train, if there was a set of dice that was made of a different material, what would you take?
Oh man, you're rocking my world here. I don't know if I have a good answer for this because I've been just a blue collar chess X dice man for a long time,
Yeah.
and the dice that carry wargaming on their back,
Hmm.
um, and nothing wrong with them. But I just upgraded. I say upgraded. I was a sucker and I got one of the Legionary dice kits from GW, which is
Mm.
very too expensive. But like I said, I my lovely game store has sponsored the channel, so I was able to get it through there. And I really like those. I think they're just a different shape. They feel a little more solid, but I don't think I have a good answer. Like I know some people like metal dice. My opinion, and you may correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think people who use metal dice are trying too hard. Personally, what do you
Mm.
think? Or are
Yeah.
you a metal dice guy?
I'm not a middle dice guy. I think that the added weight makes them bounce around or doesn't give me the same satisfaction because I don't feel like they roll
Agreed.
as much. I feel
Right.
like
They just
they
kind of clomp
either,
around.
yeah, if it's on a hard surface, it'll bounce around forever, just like,
Yep.
on those granite tabletops, or you'll drop it and then it'll land on whatever it drops pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can appreciate the aesthetic. I think
For
they
sure.
look super cool. I think it looks super dope. I don't feel like it's very practical.
100% agreed. Yeah, I think people are trying way too hard. If you show up with metal dice, whatever makes you happy. But I just think metal dice people are trying a little bit too hard. But I don't know for a second like a different material. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm educated enough in the dice world. What would be yours?
I think I would really appreciate a set of rubber dice.
Okay, I was gonna say rubber. I was going to say rubber dice, but I didn't know if I thought that was maybe too stupid. Like I was like, oh, but does nobody like? Does that even make sense? That was gonna be my answer. Like rubber, like a really like tactile, like nice textured,
Hmm.
like smooth but like matte rubber. That would be awesome.
Yep, I think that would be great on just like a plain, like really slightly thicker wooden dice tray.
Uh huh.
I think that would just check all the
Yeah.
boxes for me.
Or maybe even this. Maybe it's you have like a dice with like a plastic or whatever they make it out of core,
Mm.
and then an outer layer. So you still have that weight,
Mm.
but you have like an outer layer of that like a matte rubber or something. Because I'm a big fan of matte dice
Mm.
with a matte finish.
Yeah.
I'm a matte finish kind of guy, which the dice from GW that I just bought don't have. This is my one gripe with them. But yeah, look, I have a dice question for you then. Are you a rounded dice or a hard angle dice person?
That's a good question. That's actually a really good question.
Because I don't
Uh,
know what I am. I go back and forth. I think right now at where I am in my life in this journey of wargaming, I think I'm a square dice guy.
oh man. I think I would much rather be a rounded dice guy,
Okay.
purely because I think the more that you use, I think the whole aesthetic or a big part of why I would get very squared off dice is because of the sharp edges.
Right.
And I think dropping dice on the floor and
Mm.
all of the potential misuses or accidents that could happen to them could wear them off in certain places to be rounded. So I figure why might as well be rounded in the first place to avoid
Right.
like, man, this
Yeah.
looks beat up, as opposed to, well, it's already rounded, I guess I don't need to worry about it that much.
Right. Yeah. That's the thinking man's answer, I think. That is a well thought out. One of the reasons why I do like the GW dice that I just picked up is they're sort of I've never seen it before. They're kind of an in between. They're not hard angled. They're not like square dice, but they're also not the Chess X round. So they're kind of like a nice in between that I haven't seen before. So that's kind of scratching both itches at the same time for me.
Yeah. On that note, I feel like we might be onto something with the plastic with a
Uh-huh.
rubber outer matte finish.
Yep.
So if you feel like selling dice at some point, that are cool and different and specialized, I feel like that could be a thing.
That I have no idea how we'd make that happen, but that sounds awesome.
Me neither, but I suddenly have a very
An
high
urge to
interest.
figure it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been looking to do some dice, and I was looking at Chessex, and they're completely fine, right? Like I said, it's the
Hmm.
the dice that built Wargaming, but
Yeah.
just I would love like a nice, you know, I don't want to use the word bespoke. I'm gonna use like sort of a bespoke touch,
Yeah.
like an artisanal touch that is artisanal but yet accessible,
Yeah.
and maybe we could figure something out, man. Maybe this is where the big money is. Maybe making these videos isn't where the money is, but it's this rubberized dice. Maybe that's the money.
Maybe it's what the money or what's the videos lead the people to is where the money is.
Oh, wow, thinking man, a real
I don't know.
thinking man you are, Adrian.
And in my head too much, but if that's how you want to put it. ADHD, that's a really fancy way of saying ADHD.
Oh, I love it.
But no, I think
I'm
a set of like really nice, smooth, like wooden dice, just like
Oof, that'd
pure
be
wooden
lovely.
dice or like a rubber situation, or I don't know. I think we could make like really dumb things, like make a dice out of just like hardened super glue, something stupid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
that would be that. Yeah, I don't know why, but I think I love that.
yeah, that sounds really expensive, but that's that's just I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be. I bet you could do it. It'd be difficult, but I bet you could do it.
I'll bet. I have a lot of research to do after we're done here.
Yeah, we have homework. Oh my goodness,
We have so much homework. Yeah. Oh, it's already been an hour and 40 minutes. It's crazy.
time flies, man.
That
Time
really
flies.
does fly. I think to kind of top things off, I would love to see into the future of Battle Brothers Tabletop and
Oh man.
what there is in store, particularly with your content as more teams are being released and this second edition of Kill Team is forming into a way I don't think any of us expected, especially
Yeah,
with End
for
of the
sure.
Dark. So do you feel like your content is going to shift at all, or do you feel like you're going to have a very similar formula with Into the Dark and
Mm.
other things going forward?
Good question, man. I think that my content will probably stay familiar enough, but will probably I tend to what seems to work the best, at least on Battle Brothers, is like a mix between some broad concepts about the game and then also like here's this team that I have and here's how I built it and here's how I run it. And so those seem to be the most like natural home on Battle Brothers. Like that seems to feel the most like home base. Um and so it'll probably be just more of those, but then with a focus on, some of these new teams coming out and then like I have an idea that I really want to put out that I just need to get to film, but just like your first game with a noob, like how to play your first game of Kill Team. So like those kind of core concepts that I try, like broad strokes, I call them. Um, probably so some more of those, and then some. I think probably my next faction video that I do will be my Red Corsairs Legionaries. and then yeah, because you're right. When you talk about a team now, when I love this, you have to talk about them on an open board, and then also on Into the Dark, and I love that. I think it's cool that that's one more layer deeper of things to think about, but it doesn't add the bloat that say all of the different things you have to think about in 40K and faction specific things and all this bloat that it adds. Kill Team is, for me at least, in my opinion, a perfect medium of give you just enough to scratch that choice itch, right? That you need to choose your faction and specific things and how you want to run them. And I think it's the kind of the perfect mix. And so I like that. Now you have to think, okay, am I running them on open board or Into the Dark? And so yeah, I think it will definitely influence content coming out, for sure.
That's awesome. I'm super excited to see what comes from your channel, as well as and Russ and Reese, to see how that affects them. Yes,
those dirty
losers.
idiots.
Oh gosh.
Those rats. They were a rat the day they're born, and they'll be rats the day they die.
We're gonna ignore the casual racism and just continue the no.
Yeah, no, I love those guys. You gotta get at least one dig in them in.
You really have to on every piece of content, no matter where you are. It's
Yep.
it's about consistent branding as
It is,
as
So
an influencer. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah.
Also, multiplayer game with Russ and Reese on Tabletop Simulator. When?
It's coming. It is coming. We've talked about it. Listen, I will say this. We have some different things coming up. That's as much as I can say right now. Coming to the podcast that we're gonna, the same flavor of Kill Team Casuals that what we do, but we're gonna start to try some new things on in the podcast space, and also on because we have our podcast is Kill Team Casuals, but we have the home for that is the channel. It's the Casual Wargamers channel. And so that will, we have a lot of fun plans for that. And a 3-player TTS game is absolutely coming at some point. It's just a schedule thing, and so that's coming for sure. But then what I wish I could talk more about what the next thing we're going to be doing on the podcast, that I can't yet. But I think if you like what we do normally, then I think you'll love it.
Wow, you already have secret projects that you can't talk about.
We do.
That's so nice.
International secret projects, yes.
Secret projects. I'm excited for that. And is that going to be... So let me just clarify this. So everything on the podcast goes onto the Casual Wargamers YouTube channel?
Yep. Yeah. So that's the home. What we were doing for a while is sharing uploads, which was super janky. Like I would take a week and upload it. Reese would take a week, And so now we have a channel for it called Casual Wargamers, and so far it's just been the pods on there. But we have some plans for some video content, and then also shaking things up in the pod. We would never dream of changing, Kill Team Casuals too much. But just introducing some new different things, to live alongside Kill Team Casuals, and all within the wargaming space, but in some really fun ways. And so I cannot tell you, because I'm so excited on it right now. Like I was just working on it last night with the guys, and so there's some stuff that I'm super excited about that I think people are going to really enjoy coming up in the next, I'm going to say, month/2 months.
Okay. And without giving any spoilers, does any of that involve anything that your patrons will be involved in?
Probably, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And then also I here's what I can say. I can say this is that we for sure want to do some Darktide videos. We just are a little scared of what that means on the editing side of things, but we definitely want to play some Darktide for sure. So I that's separate from what I was, I wish I could talk about, but I can't. What I can talk about is that we're all very excited for Darktide, and would love to get some of that going.
That's sick. I'm glad y'all are excited for Darktide too, because that's a big thing for me right now.
Right, to bring it back home. I know.
Yep,
yeah.
Gearing up for Darktide content, and oh gosh, especially Darktide community content. And that's kind of a spoiler for what I will be getting myself into the rest of the weekend, and just up until release. So Well, dude, thank you so much for talking to me. Hey, if you're listening right now, thank you so much for watching till the end. I will have links for Warpfire Minis as well as the Casual War Gamers YouTube channel in my description. Again, Ben, thank you so much for thanks for just talking to me today, man.
Oh, dude, thank you for having me on, man. I like Kill Team and I like talking about it. So that's kind of my whole thing. So pleasure to talk to you, man. This has been really great. Some really interesting off the beaten path questions. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And I would love to do another thing like this if you would have me in the future.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, just you name it, and if I can be there, you got me.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, life is hard. Be kind. Catch you next time. And cut.
Killer.
I think you said Warpfire Gaming the whole time.
Probably.
I looked up Warpfire Gaming and then I was like, this is in Ohio? What is this? I don't know what this is.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I'm the worst sponsee in the world.
But you might be their only sponsee. I don't know. It sounds like they're like, man, we'll take what we can get.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
We'll take it this way.